Hey guys, Greg here on the Vinyl Rundown. Today I have the sad duty to inform you about the death of jazz great trumpeter Jack Sheldon, who died a few days ago, December 27th, died at age 88 here in Los Angeles, and they're reporting that he died of natural causes, age 88. I would say all of you know and love the music of Jack Sheldon, but you don't necessarily know who he is, and you may have never heard of him. He is a jazz trumpeter who has been in Los Angeles for decades and decades, part of the West Coast jazz scene, but he also had two other careers, one sort of in comedy and one as a singer. And if you're of my generation, you probably know him best from the voice of Schoolhouse Rock, Junction, I'm Just a Bill. Maybe there was another one. You remember that gravelly voice, Junction? Everybody loved that vocal performance, and a lot of folks only know his music from those performances. When I heard those songs when I was like 8 or 10 years old, and a lot of people, we assumed he was black just because of the soulfulness of his voice. He's actually a pasty white guy. Not that that matters, but for 40 years I believed I was listening to a black guy's voice. I'll show you a couple of records I have of Jack Sheldon, and I just want to go over some of his achievements. Like I say, he was one of the main trumpeters of the West Coast jazz scene. He actually came out to Los Angeles with his good friend Chet Baker, and Chet Baker maybe went on to be a little more famous, but Jack ultimately, you could say, more successful, because Chet sort of self-destructed, as you know. And the movie Let's Get Lost, the documentary about Chet Baker, Jack Sheldon appears in that movie and talks about his friend Chet Baker. Did a lot of studio work, session musician, appeared in all kinds of TV shows, on the soundtracks, TV shows, films, and as a sideman for a lot of jazz people, West Coast jazz sound. He actually was the sidekick, if you will, musical director on the Merv Griffin variety show for like 18 years. Much like Doc Severinsen was, the band director for Johnny Carson, but Jack sort of filled the role of both Ed McMahon and Doc Severinsen all in one, comedy sidekick and musical director. And he appeared in a lot of the sort of sketch comedy things. So he had a very good sense of humor, and he was known to tell a lot of jokes, a lot of off-color jokes in between songs in his jazz club sets, especially here in Los Angeles. And probably the only jazz musician who was ever given his own sitcom. He was given a sitcom in the 60s called Run Buddy Run. Only lasted one season. Most people have never heard of it. You might be able to find a clip on YouTube. But I think he played an accountant, somehow involved with the mobsters, and they were chasing him or something. I don't know. He did something like 20 LPs as a leader, as a jazz leader. I have one of them here. Jack Sheldon Out. Let me read what it says. An incohesive collection of songs sung and played in a most unusual manner by Jack Sheldon and his quartet. Out. A picture of a woman looking at a droopy rose doesn't really make any sense to me. This is on Capitol Records, I think. Yeah, recorded here in LA, Capitol Records, 1962. One of his sort of famous songs is on here, Atomic Bomb. Kind of funny lyrics about, the atomic bomb fell on me, I'd still love you, or something like that. The photo on the back here shows him underwater with, is that the guitar player from the session? I don't know. Maybe Jack's kids. Underwater. Jack was known as an avid swimmer, trying to lose weight. He was always kind of a pudgy guy. This photo is going to be used as a cover photo of the documentary that I'll tell you about later. The great trumpet, jazz trumpet, and offbeat vocals of Jack Sheldon. And then another record I have of his on vinyl. Soundtrack, jazz score to from Johnny Mandel for a movie called I Want to Live. I don't really know the movie. Susan Hayward. Conducted and composed by top West Coast jazz musicians. I have this on the record player so you can hear a little bit of it. This looks like it's from about 1959 or so. Beat up copy I got at the used record store. Looks like this is on United Artists in New York, not LA, even though it's LA musicians. So, 2 records I have of Jack's. Okay, what else did I want to tell you about Jack? He's played with a lot of people over the years as a session man, sideman. People as unusual as Tom Waits, Frank Sinatra, the Monkees, the Munsters soundtrack. One of his most famous trumpet performances was on the song The Shadow of Your Smile, which was used in a movie, Sandpiper. And I think the song won a Grammy and or an Oscar for Song of the Year or whatever, with Jack's prominent trumpet performance. So later in life, Jack actually had a couple of strokes, and he lost the use of his trumpet playing hand. And he had to relearn to play trumpet with the other hand, and was successfully managed to get through that, and played a lot of club gigs, not a lot of club gigs, but late in life, in his 70s and 80s, he continued to play club gigs here in Los Angeles, kind of rarely, like once or twice a year for, I think, his birthday or something like that, down in Hollywood, usually Catalina's Bar and Grill. Another significant thing, in the 2008, a documentary was made about him called Trying to Get Good, and that was kind of a catchphrase, like he spent his whole life trying to get good at the trumpet. He actually was an excellent trumpet player. And that documentary was made by a local guy here in Los Angeles, Doug McIntyre, who's kind of a radio host and writer and syndicated columnist. He and his wife, Penny Pizer, did sort of a self-made, self-funded documentary that came out and got some good reviews. I still haven't seen it. I'm trying to find out if it's on DVD or where I can get it. It was not widely released, but had a lot of interviews of top people that he played with, had interviews from people like Clint Eastwood and Billy Crystal and other musicians that he played with. Clint Eastwood, as you know, is a huge jazz fan. And I would love to get a copy of that. And Doug, if you're watching, I need to get a copy. And Doug, why don't you let me interview you about the movie for my channel here on the Vinyl Rundown. Guys, I think that's about all I can say about Jack Sheldon. Check him out on YouTube. There's a lot of great clips of him, clips from the documentary, clips of him doing comedy, clips of him doing his sort of jazz club sessions, and he tells a lot of jokes between tunes. Many of them are not for a G-rated audience. And so, sorry to see Jack Sheldon leave us at age 88, but he lived a long and fascinating and entertaining life. And I think that's about it, guys. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe or hit notifications if you want to see more of my videos. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.